Now, you also knew, Brian Wilson.
Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys?
Yes.
Yeah. Brian is a genius. He had a rough upbringing. I don't think he makes a secret of it. He took his share of psychedelic drugs and such. And whatever it was, genius as he is, it left him talking a little bit like a Bill Murray character. You remember Bill Murray's character, the honker?
Yes.
Well, that's the way Brian Brian talks. And I think it's just a defense mechanism. Whatever it is, Brian helped me with an album that I made in 1989. He and I collaborated on one cut on the album. And I was supposed to move in that weekend with my wife, Kathy, and I. We weren't married at the time, but we were about to move in together finally, get a place together. And we were going to move in together, but I said, honey, I got to go to the coast and work with Brian Wilson. And she says, have a heart, how can you do that? But, when you got to go, you got to go. So now I am on the West Coast with Brian, and we're in the studio, and the song is, the more we work on it, the worse the song is getting. Sometimes that happens, you can overwork a thing, and that's what was happening to us. It was getting worse and worse, and then Kathy calls up to the studio. I'm in the new apartment, honey, and the whole building is shaking. It's a windstorm, and the building is oscillating and trembling and shaking from side to side. And I'm I'm trying to do a song with Brian Wilson, and she's 3,000 miles away, and I don't know what to do because the song I'm working on is getting worse and worse. So I look around, and what am I going to say? And I guess the perverse side of my personality took over, and I said, Brian, Kathy is in the new apartment all by herself, and the building is shaking. Can you see if you can? And I passed the phone over to Brian Wilson. I don't know what's going to happen, But that's how perverse I am. And he takes the phone. He says, hey, hi, Kathy. He says, these tall buildings, anything over 35 stories, it's kind of built to be elastic, and it's supposed to give in the wind, and that's the way, And somehow he calmed her down, As the honker said, okay, thanks, Brian. And she can go. I can go to bed now, honey. And that's it. Happily ever after. So you never know what a rock and roll genius will do when he'll come through for you.
And then he had that weird psychiatrist that lived with him who was claiming ownership of all of his songs.
Dr. Landy.
Dr. Landy was on the scene when I was. He's no longer with the living, apparently. Dr. Landy died.
Okay. Didn't know
but
that.
yeah, he went from being Brian's therapist to being Brian's co-writer and producer and owning all of the material. I had to deal with this. Every day, things were getting worse and worse. It wasn't really the doctor, Dr. Landy, that was the scariest, but it was these little boys that he would send over to spy on Brian and call him surreptitiously so that he would know everything that was going on in the studio. Well, Brian, I hear you guys didn't come up with a second verse. How did you know that, Dr. Landy? Oh, just little bird told me. But really, these kids, and we call them the surf Nazis because that was almost like what they were like. They were spies, They were Luftwaffe SS spies calling in. So every day I would get up, and I was staying at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood, and say, how am I going to face the studio again? And I'd be down at the pool, getting a little color. At least if I go in looking good, I'll feel better. And who would pull up a chair right beside me by the pool? Tommy Tune.
Wow.
The Broadway legend. And he's 7 feet tall.
On a very long chaise lounge.
Yeah. Exactly. George Fenneman, long, chaise long. Very funny.
Thanks.
So
I do what I can.
Yeah. So I started talking to him, Tommy. I don't know, there's a guy, Brian Wilson, and you may know you're more Broadway-oriented, but there was a thing called surf music, and the little old lady from Pasadena, and the thing California Girls is so great, and now there's a guy, Dr. Landy, and he was his therapist, and now he owns all the stuff, and I don't know what to do, because now his girlfriend, Landy's girlfriend, wants to write the lyrics to the song. What am I going to do, Tommy? And Tommy said, embrace the doctor.
Wow.
That's it.
The wisdom of Tommy Tune.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Wow.
Yeah. Embrace the Doctor. That's it. That's all you have to know.
Speaking of musical,
I did a music video with the Beach Boys. They sang the theme song to Problem Child.
really?
And that was a movie that you starred in?
Yes.
Problem Child? Well, excuse me.
Wow.
I don't go to movies too much. Was that what it was? Frank?
He's been holding out on me.
Frank? Was he in Problem?
He was also in Problem Child 2, Paul.
Those are movies.
Yeah, you missed them both.
And I was in Problem Child 3.
Yes.
A TV movie. Problem Child 3, Junior in Love. And John Ritter wouldn't do it, so they had William Catt, Greatest American Hero.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the kid was.
Okay. So, getting back, the Beach Boys sang the theme song.
The theme song.
Yeah. How did it go?
Okay. Na 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 ba ma 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 ma. Oh yeah. Who wants to grow up? Who wants responsibility? Oh no, not me. Who wants to show up and work until you're 93? Oh,
no,
not me.
Woo-woo. And then it had that,
It was a
the
theremin.
Beach Boys, yeah.
Now everybody says you're running wild. The teacher's calling you a problem. Ooh, that's when you say that.
yeah.
See, rather than saying child,
Uh-huh.
they lead you that
And-
they're going to say problem child. They go problem. Ooh.
Oh,
Yes.
well, it's almost like child. That's not blue. Is child a dirty word? Maybe to some people.
No, it made it one of those cool song choices.
So then they were performing it in the music video, and you were in the video too,
Yes.
playing the problem child.
No, they had
No.
the actual kid there.
Oh, and
Yeah.
what were you, the therapist?
I was
Dr. Landy.
I was claiming ownership
Yes.
to the problem child theme.
He's the Dr. Landy of
Well,
Problem
you should have
Child.
been speaking to Tommy Toon about this, and
Embrace
he would have
the
said,
doctor.
"Embrace the Doctor." That's right.
I'd like to have that as my slogan
Embra-
in life. Embrace the
You
doctor.
can have it. I'll talk to Tommy Toon's people. Can we have Embrace the Doctor? Yeah, go ahead. Knock yourself out.
We will return to Gilbert Gottfried's amazing colossal podcast, but first, a word from our sponsor.
This is a story which involves Brian Wilson, the great creative genius of the Beach Boys.
Okay.
And the writer of all of their hits, and including the very far-thinking ahead Pet Sounds, which inspired the Beatles to do Sgt. Pepper. He was
something
ahead
from
of
Pet Sounds.
he was
And the
ahead of
song,
them.
the song Johnny Carson.
No, I got to get to the story.
Yeah.
He's come back. He's made a big comeback, but he is tortured. It's no secret. He's so tortured that he speaks out of the side of his mouth, sort of like a Bill Murray character. And he's with his band. He's in Toronto, Canada, and he's in the wings. He's about to go on, and he's just musing to himself. And he says, Toronto. Hey, one time I was in an insane asylum, and Tonto came into my room with a heart on. I said, "Get out of here!" And then the band goes on, and they're, "Well, East Coast girls are hit by," and they're saying, "What the hell did I just hear?"
And
Is Jay Silver living? by the
No,
way?
he's
No, we
gone.
lost him.
Just